Amiibo Nuzlocke. Let me explain the rules. I will face every raid boss amiibo that I have, starting with the worst one and working my way all the way up to what I deem is my best raid boss amiibo. I can use every single character on the roster, but once they lose a single time, they are no longer usable for me for the remainder of this challenge, and if I have no characters left, well then I lose this challenge. I am able to use every item, but only a single time use per item, no matter if I win or lose the match that the item is associated with. With that being said, let's begin. Starting off with what I believe is my worst amiibo, Ken. I didn't really get off to the strongest start here as I tried to recover back to the stage, only for Ken to catch me in one of his trademark combos where he ended up finishing me off.
Huh?
Well, with an up special, not the way you were thinking. Now this did make me slightly nervous as per the rules. If I lose here, I lose K-Rool for the rest of the series. But my hunger for this win was as strong as, well, I could possibly imagine because I stomached Ken to even things up pretty early on. A bit later, I did find myself down to my final stock before I bring Ken down to his final stock, evening up this match. However, I was sitting at over 150% damage, so I had to be extremely cautious and meticulous here if I wanted to pull off this win. But sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, because Ken was dangling off the side of the stage when I threw my crown, and as he came back on the stage, he had some sort of brain fart and he dodged off stage, falling to his doom. Simon is second in this Nuzlocke, and early, well, I used some blunderbuss magic, I guess we'll say, as I fired out the projectile, then caught Simon in the blunderbuss, shot him back out, knocking him far enough away for me to pick up the first stock. In the latter portion of this match, we are tied at 2 stocks apiece here. I did find myself at over 220% damage, so I was a little bit nervous here, but I was still determined not to lose with my main character this early on in a Nuzlocke, so I focused up every last little bit of strength and blasted Simon with a powerful forward smash that carried him just far enough off stage for the win. Mii Brawler is third, and well, she's Shantae in this case for my Mii Brawler. She ended up dancing her way in as the next challenger, and I was lucky to connect a pretty powerful forward smash, knocking her off stage, but not quite enough for the KO, so I had to go and hit this insane down air.
Not even close.
To finish the job.
Wow, incredible.
I'm still going to take credit for the KO, however. Once again, I do find myself down to my last stock, being at 169%, not bad. I do think, though, we'll say strategically I ran off stage here so I could kind of swipe at Mii Brawler, getting back up on stage, and then I followed it up with a big ol' stomach to the face, picking up 3 wins in a row. This is going pretty well so far. Now, my next match, for a second, I thought I was in like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel with Pegasus, because Link ended up turning himself into a Toon version of himself. But luckily, I know that most Toon monsters can't really attack the first turn that they're summoned, except for Toon Dark Magician Girl. I wonder why. So I ended up going all out to hit this gnarly down air with just enough oomph on it to where, well, Toon Link couldn't make it back, giving me the slight lead. In the end, Toon Link ended up mind gaming himself, I guess we'll say, as he failed his recovery attempt because he forgot that his chain grab doesn't go straight upwards, and it only goes straight outwards. Now my first of many, I hope, Pokemon encounters is Lucario. Now, I'm riding pretty high at this moment because I got 4 straight wins and this momentum, but it ended up helping me fuel this sort of blazing start I had against this popular pocket monster by not just getting the first stock, even with the teabag, but I ended up getting the first 2 stocks, which then allowed me to attempt to get my first 3 stock in this challenge, but that didn't quite happen. But my strategy with the stock lead was just to keep racking up damage, and eventually I knew I was going to deliver the final blow, which I did, picking up my 5th straight win. Up next is going to be Min Min, and this is what I would dub my first obstacle so far. So this stretchy armed noodle lady, I needed some sort of strategy, so I figured, why not go for a mirror match? So I'm switching off K. Rool. I haven't lost with him, so he's still able for me to pick up later on in the challenge if I ever need him again, which I know I'm going to. So I figured a mirror match, let's try to beat Min Min at her own game. However, this didn't really pan out like I had hoped, and I ended up losing this match, so Min Min is now unusable for the rest of this challenge. So after thinking about what my next strategy would be and how I was going to defeat Min Min, I came up with picking Samus, and I figured I'd just go the route of spamming projectiles. Plus, I'm also going to be using one of my first items, that would be the Beast Ball. So I figured spamming projectiles as well as hopefully heavy item usage, I thought that would be plenty enough to break this slinky chick.
What an odd thing to say.
But no, I ended up suffering my second straight loss to her, so there goes Samus and an item. So after losing 2 straight matches to Min Min and losing 2 characters and an item, I figured, alright, maybe we were riding high with K. Rool, let me switch back to him. And boy was I nervous, because again, like I mentioned earlier, I don't want to lose K. Rool this early. I know I'm going to need him to carry me as far as he can. And this was a pretty intense back and forth battle, as we kept kind of trading stocks back and forth, pretty evenly matched here. But I was locked in, I was determined not to lose, and I had pulled off a nice, perfect shield that, I'll be honest, 100% saved me from defeat. And I eventually stomached my way to victory, taking down Min Min. Snake ended up slithering his way in next as my opponent, and well, we did end up, both with 1 stock remaining. This wasn't really too eventful of a match, so I told my toy Snake amiibo that he can take this crown and shove it. Now overall, this was a pretty good episode. Good start, but these are my worst amiibo, so I should probably beat them pretty easily, so... And I pretty much did. But the next episode, we are going to start with an amiibo that will be a major challenge for me, because this Fox amiibo has the auto heal spirit.